Hey, I'm Mike, and this is the weekly recap for the week of August 27th to September 2nd. This past week, I divided my time between doing heroics and doing achievements, so my warrior started at an item level of 558 and is ending the week at 578.31, so just a 20 item level increase. I'm fully decked out in War Within gear now. I replaced my legendary earlier this week, which hurt a little bit, but I replaced it with a blue, I think, so that was nice. The drops were a little sparse this week. I was able to get some best in slot pieces that I ended up upgrading, I think almost all of them to 8 out of 8. The majority of the best in slot pieces I actually got were traded from people that didn't need them, so that was a little bit frustrating. I was able to check out the dungeons I hadn't seen last week, and I really do like the dungeons that this expansion has to offer. I think Arakara looks amazing. Cinderbrew is one of my lesser favorites, but I like the way that it looks and kind of the vibe of it, but it's, I don't know, just feels a little bit longer for me. City of Flames is great. Dark Flame Cleft is another one that I'm not the biggest fan of. I think that one's going to be a little bit of a pain just with the whole candle mechanic. I don't really like that. Priory is awesome. I love the way that it looks, especially going to that last boss room. That is just really nice to look at. Dawnbreaker, people seem to not really like a whole lot. I do though. I like the flying mechanic, and I feel like it's a pretty quick dungeon, especially when that second boss is up. I think what you're supposed to do is like kill other mini bosses to make him easier, but none of the groups I've done have done that. I imagine Mythic Plus that'll be the strat to kill all those mini bosses, but so far none of the groups I've done have been doing that. So far it's been a pretty enjoyable dungeon. Rookery is fun and nice to look at. And then Stone Vault as well. Kind of reminds me of Ironforge. Same with the main city of Dornogal. I think both of them remind me of Ironforge, which is my favorite capital in all of WoW. And I really wish that the Alliance capital was in Stormwind, because it just sucks. And Ironforge is way nicer to traverse around. Everything is in a much more convenient spot. It's smaller in general. So anything that reminds me of Ironforge is just an immediate W. I'm looking forward to seeing these dungeons in the Mythic Plus pool. I'm not at all excited about the non-War Within dungeons. I like that they do that so it's not very repetitive throughout the expansion, but the ones that are coming out with Season 1 just are not great, especially Mist Eternal Scythe. I'm really not looking forward to that one. But any of the dungeons in the War Within, I'll be happy to do those. In addition to that, I was doing the world quests and like the weekly stuff, so I did the Awakened Machine event thing, which is, I don't know if it's supposed to be that easy, but it was very easy. It was just very long and tedious. I don't know if it's going to be like Delves, where in like Season 1 there's like a harder version of it that comes out, because that just seems like a waste of time overall. Outside of my warrior, I was moving all of my alts to Khazalgar, just so I can use them to farm the rare spawns for mounts. I think I've got like a third of them done, maybe a quarter. But in addition to moving all of them, I was actually leveling up my hunter. I just keep thinking back to Draenor when I was doing PvP a lot on my hunter, and I just had so much fun, and I want to do that again. I'm really wanting to do some PvP, and I really want to do it on my hunter now. I know like 2 weeks ago I said I want to do it on my mage. I still do, but just more so on my hunter right now, so I'm probably going to level him first and then eventually get my mage up, because that way I have an alliance hunter and then a horde mage, and that way whenever one of the factions is doing poorly, probably horde because they're awful, whenever one of them is doing poorly in Battlegrounds, I'll just switch to the other and hopefully have a better time. But yeah, hunter is just a lot of fun. Right now he's level 72, and I'd like to get him to 80 in the next couple weeks, maybe like in the beginning of Season 1, just so I can start PvPing then, but for now just slowly leveling him up. I was leveling up my cooking up to a certain point. I think I'm at a point now where it just costs a lot of money or a lot of time to level that up. So I'm probably just going to wait until a little bit later in the expansion when the materials are cheaper to get. Or if I feel like doing some fishing randomly, I'll go do that and hopefully have some more mats to get that up to, I think it's 100 still. For the questing that I was doing on my warrior, anything that rewarded rep, I would wait to hand that in until Sunday at least, because on Sunday the Darkmoon Faire came around and you can get that 10% experience and rep buff. So anything that could reward rep, I waited to hand that in. Any world quest, I got to like 99%, and then when Darkmoon Faire came in on Sunday, I got that buff and then just ran around everywhere handing stuff in or finishing those world quests just so I can get a little bit more rep. So I think in total, specifically like the Hallowfall reputation, I think I got like an extra like 1,000 rep or something because of all the weekly stuff I handed in, so that was really nice. For this week, my focus is going to be a little bit more on doing heroics and getting some more gear now that my achievements are winding down a little bit. And then also just leveling up my hunter, again, like I said, trying to get him to level 80 sooner than later. Speaking of achievements, I started the week at 40,040 points and I'm ending it at 40,390, so a difference of 350. I did a lot of exploration achievements this week. I only have 9 left, which I'm really happy about. I did some more of the quest achievements and there's only 13 left there. Just whenever I could, I would just sort by incomplete and then go, what is the first achievement in that list? Go to Wowhead and can I do this yet? Do I have to do something specific? And if I can, do it. If not, go to the next one. I got my fishing to 300 finally. I did the achievement to do 1 world soul memory, which I don't really know what that's all about. I don't know how to get like the things you need to start that. And then also, I know it's kind of like a pre-patch event, but this, I don't know, it just felt like it was longer and not as enjoyable. So I think the last achievement is to do like either 25 or 50 of them, which I'm not really looking forward to. I did some more delves this week and I got the achievements for tier 2 and 3 as well as using a coffer key. There were a couple achievements tied to one of the world quests in Ringing Deeps, which is to collect the 10 ores and then deposit them in the thing. One of the big things I did this week was I finished up all the Khazalgar pet battle achievements, which I've never done before in an expansion. So I got the Safari achievement, which is to collect all the pets in all the zones. I didn't know there was an achievement to complete all the world quests, so I got that. And then there were the family achievements, so defeating all the trainers with only like critters and only flying, only dragonkin and so on, so I got all those. It was mostly time consuming, but there were a couple of combinations that there weren't really a lot of Wowhead combos that I could do with my team. So I had to kind of mix and match and try my own strats here and there was just some, like specifically the one in Isle of Dorn, I forget the trainer there, but my god, that one just, I was getting so frustrated because I kept getting like the last pet to like 1 HP or something, and I couldn't kill him because he kept like stunning me or like just one-shotting me with Sandstorm. I was getting so frustrated, I finally got it, so that was really annoying, but for the most part, it was relatively simple. I had a lot of the pets that I would need from the Wowhead comments, or I had 2 out of the 3 and I just checked another comment and then I used one of the pets there. But yeah, there were definitely a few that just were driving me crazy. There was one achievement in Ashkahet, the No Harm Ever Came From Reading a Book achievement, that was kind of a fun thing to go about and find. And I don't really know how people find this, because like, to start this achievement, you have to fall down a hole in some random cave that is like, you would find that by accident. Like, you're just in there and you just happen to fall down a hole. Like, I don't know how anyone found that, but that was fun because like you talk to clones of yourself, you have to go find the clones within the zone, which again, I don't know how anyone finds that, but had a lot of fun doing that. I think it took like 20-30 minutes, something like that, but that was an enjoyable one. For mounts this week, I started off by getting the Ghastly Charger from Twitch Drops. It's a pretty cool looking mount. I got the Delver's Dirigible mount for the Delve thing, which I don't really like this mount, and the customization, none of it looks cool. I think this whole thing is ugly, so I'm never going to use it. Like I mentioned earlier, I was moving all my alts to Khazalgar to farm some rare spawns, one of which was the Lurker of the Deeps in the Ringing Deeps, because he drops this Ol Mol Rufus mount. So I got that after like 25-ish maybe kills. It's a pretty ugly mount, but apparently it sells for like 300 to 500k, so I'm going to leave my alts there and see if I can maybe farm that and try to get it and just sell it. Same with this mount, Beladar Spawn, which comes from the rare that spawns every 3 hours when Hallowfall changes to the purple crystal. This mount is awesome, and I'm really glad that I got it as quickly as I did. And apparently this one goes for like 3 to 5 million, so again, I'm going to try to do this every 3 hours if I can, because if I can get even just one mount sold, that'd be awesome. But that's all that I did this week. I had a lot of fun playing, and I'm looking forward to playing some more. Like I said, I'm going to be focusing a little bit more on gearing this week, and then also trying to get some achievements along the way. I don't remember what unlocks today. I think it's Mythic, so it'll be nice to get into some Mythic dungeons and start gearing up some more. But if that comes out next week, then whatever comes out this week, I'm sure I'll be doing it. Just really excited about the game right now, really excited about Season 1 starting up shortly. But let me know how your week went, what you're up to, what you're doing, what you've unlocked, what you're liking and not liking. Whether it's in-game or outside of it, let me know what's going on in your life. If you're already subscribed, I really appreciate it. I'm trying to get to 100k, still a far ways off, but every little bit helps. If you're a new viewer or if you're a returning viewer who hasn't yet subscribed, I'd really appreciate it if you could at least consider it, because that would make me feel nice. Thanks for watching, I love you lots. Enjoy your week, I'll talk at you next Tuesday.